said, no, I offend people on purpose. I don't want to personally offend them by a lack of love or care or kindness or compassion. But I'm sorry, this word from God is offensive. Worship me correctly or die. Romans 1 basically consigns the human race to hell because when they knew God, they failed to worship him. That brings about damnation. The history of the church has corrupted worship in a formal way, external, ceremonial, emptying God of the love of the heart that he deserves. Contemporary church has taken the name of the Lord in vain with its often informal worship, more psychological, sociological. And put itself in jeopardy, I think. A lot of fake worship. I will give you just a definition. True worship is any and every expression of obedience, praise, honor, adoration, and gratitude offered to the true God by a regenerate soul who knows the truth about God and loves him. The Psalms are the hymns of the redeemed. They're not the hymns of the unredeemed. They're the hymns of the redeemed. Psalm 45:1 expresses worship as my heart bubbling over. And as Vodi pointed out to us in the last session, in the New Testament, we speak to ourselves. This is not an evangelistic tool. We speak to ourselves in psalms, hymns, spiritual songs, singing, making melody in our hearts to the Lord. Our music is to the Lord. It's not music from the stage to the audience. It's music from the saints to the Lord. The New Testament is full of doxology, and when you get to the book of Revelation, you get a glimpse of heaven. Chapter 4, 5, 11, 14, 15, 19, 22 in Revelation. Heaven is just exploding with praise and worship. I think we need to remind this contemporary church that music is not worship. Music is poetry with melody. Music is music. In and of itself, it is not worship. And it's a little bit disturbing to hear people say, well, you preach so long, how is there any time for worship? And my answer would be, your sermons are so short, how does anybody know what worship is? But I don't want to say things like that, or I'll get in trouble on the internet. So, that was just a few thoughts, and now I'll get to my text. So turn to John 4. Obviously, we just can't dig down into this, but I do want to show you a few things from this incredible text. You know the story, woman at the well. And in these verses from verse 20 to 24, we have some of the key elements of worship. Number one, the author and initiator of worship. The author and initiator of worship. So important. This is the heart of everything. Verse 23. An hour is coming, now is, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. Listen to this. For such people, true worshipers, who worship in spirit and truth, the Father seeks to be his worshiper. Who is the source and initiator of worship? Such people the Father seeks to be his worshipers. John 6:44, Jesus said, no one comes to me unless the Father what? Draws him. The Father. Bodhi said some things about that great reality. It doesn't say, for such people, the Creator seeks to be his worshipers. God is the Creator, but that doesn't come across with near the richness that identifying him as a Father does. And by the way, he's identified as Father 3 times in those few verses there. This is the foundation of all truth regarding God. All truth regarding God. This is the heart of all understanding of salvation. This is the heart of the gospel. It is that God is a Father. That is, God is eternally in a love relationship with other persons. This is not Allah. In attempting to strike a blow against Christianity, Islam says Allah is one. He neither begets nor is he begotten. Thank you very much. Therefore, Allah is not the true God. The true God begets and is begotten. The true God can love because the true God is 3 persons in one. There cannot be an attribute of love in a single deity who eternally has only lived with himself. He may at some point create, but he cannot create for a relationship because there's nothing in his nature that requires that. And that is why in Islam there is no such thing as love from God. We have a God who is first and foremost the Father. The Father who loves his Son and is loved by his Son. A Father who loved the nation, Israel. A Father who, out of love, chose Israel. A Father who, out of love, continues to choose his own eternal family. The true God is set apart from every other false deity. That is why it's so foundational for us in the New Testament to hear that God so loved the world. That's what's behind everything. God's love for the world, but not just his love for the world, his love for his own Son. We see this magnificently in the Gospel of John where you are. If you look just a couple of things quickly over to chapter 14 and verse 21. He who has my commandments and keeps them is the one who loves me. And he who loves me will be loved by my Father. And I will love him and will disclose myself to him. Judas, not Iscariot, said to him, Lord, what then has happened that you're going to disclose yourself to us and not to the world? Jesus answered and said to him, if anyone loves me, he will keep my word, and my Father will love him, and we will come to him and make our abode with him. He who does not love me does not keep my words, and the word which you hear is not mine, but the Father's who sent me. The whole plan of salvation is based on the Father loving the Son, and through the Son and the Spirit, loving a redeemed humanity that he brings to glory so that forever he can lavish them with his own love and be loved by them.